Hey folks, I hope you're doing well. I'm sitting up in my kitchen at the minute, or my dining area, working on the base for the tester house. Apologies for the harsh lighting here, but it's all I've got going at the moment. So I started off with 2 sheets of styrene, the same stuff that I've been using for the house itself, and just cut 2 rough shapes, and then sandwiched 2 layers of the just regular like packing polystyrene, you know, the stuff that's made up of all these little balls. It's not the best stuff to use, but it's all I had on hand. I would have preferred to just make this whole thing out of the hard like pink foam that you get for, I think it's like insulation for homes and stuff, but it's a bit expensive for me to be able to afford at the minute. So just using what I've got really, and it turned out all right. Just as I cut the layers of the sheet styrene first, the same stuff, coffee shop price board stuff. And then yeah, the 2 layers of packing polystyrene in the middle there. Just spread glue all over the surface to put on as much glue as I could. And then it was pretty solid as it was, but I wanted to make sure that these layers weren't going to come apart at any point. So I drilled right through the whole depth of it, and then put some bamboo skewers in. That's all the little dots that you can see on the surface there. Put some bamboo skewers through and glued those in just to make sure this thing was as solid as could be. And then around the side here, I've just picked out a bunch of the styrene. That was pretty cool about having that styrene core, the polystyrene core, was that I could just go in and pick it out with a tool and get this rough texture. And then I'm going back over it with just an air drying clay, packing that in as best as possible, and then using just a sculpting tool. So I'm putting it on there and then smushing it all in with a sculpting tool, and then adding a bit of detail, like a few lines and stuff with this, and then going over it with just an old toothbrush. And what the toothbrush does is, if I can find, here we go, see if this will focus. See the like tiny bits of detail there, like the little lines, and I'm stippling a few bits as well just to try and get like a natural rock surface. At the front here there's a gap. I'm going to put some curved stairs, one set going to the left, one to the right, just so you got like 2 ways of getting up into here. And then I've mapped out roughly where the house is going to go, and then going to have some sort of shed, maybe a couple trees, like one here and then one over this side. I might do some fencing all the way around as well, and then I'll add a few more bits and pieces, a few more details in here. The bottom here as well, I've left a small trim all the way around on the bottom layer, and it's just to, I'll flock that with grass and moss and stuff, just to give it a nicer transition. So if this is placed on a play area, I guess, that's already made of grass, to blend in a wee bit better. Do some little tufts and little plants and stuff growing around the base of this rock. And I'm actually working on it just now. That stuff's still wet there. It doesn't stick amazingly to this polystyrene, but if I work it in enough, and then it holds for the meantime, and then when it sets up, it's really solid. So it's like, yeah, it's good. Alright, there we go. That's more work done on the hill. I've finished up the edge just with the clay again, air drying clay, all the way around, and sculpted in detail to make it look like rock. I'm hoping this will dry brush up really nice and pick out all this the detail that I've scratched into the surface there. And then I went around with milliput. So the air drying clay is the orange stuff, milliput is this green yellow sort of stuff on top, around the edge, just because I didn't want this to chip off or anything like that if it got a knock. So milliput is much tougher than this air drying clay. So I went right around the edge and just raised it up a wee bit, just to, add some like rock texture here and there, to give it like a rougher sort of edge. And that'll also give me a chance to play with some like grit and everything around the edge here, and grass, like longer tufts of grass, or Might put some trees, a couple trees or something going on here as well. And then on the front here, these are the stairs. So I just made the stairs with sheets of styrene. Obviously cut them to fit this this curve. Stuck the blocks of stairs in there and then sculpted over it with milliput just to make it solid. I think these stairs are shallow enough for a miniature to sit on there. There's enough space here for a regular size miniature to go. And then I think they can sit on the stairs as well if movement is an issue during play or whatever. And then hopefully I'm going to leave enough space all the way around for miniatures to travel right around here, just to interact with the terrain piece fully. Done a bunch more work on the house as well. I've finished up the roof, so this is a lot of shingle work going on. Mentioned how to do this in the last video. That's all the shingle work done all the way around. Finished up the chimney stack at the back here, and it sort of pokes up through the roof. Added these windows in. I mentioned last time that I wanted to add a bit more visual interest to this side. So just copying the shape of the windows I'd done elsewhere on this piece. And then up the top of these, I've done tiny little like metal banding work. This is just a sheet of styrene, little glass beads on the side there, and then the tops of cocktail sticks, just to look like little metal banding work to go on the top there. So there's one for each of those. There goes the other one, just to cap those little windows jutting out, to cap those off. And then for the top, I've made larger ones. This is not painted up yet, obviously, but for the top of the roof, this is just a sheet of styrene, holes drilled in it, and then bamboo skewers. The tops of those just glued in, and then these white plastic things you see in the middle, they're beads from a Mardi Gras style necklace I got in a pub years and years ago. I found it in my bits box and just cut the beads out and filed them down to fit in between those the skewers. So just it's going to be painted up to look like intricate metal work, and then just added some glass beads along the side here. So that one will sit up here on top like that, just to add this decorative spine, I guess, to the top of the roof. This is a smaller one for the side that I've started painting up already. I'm still going to add some like moss work and stuff to this to add a bit more detail. Added some like rust and everything in there to make it look weathered. So this sits on top of the smaller side of the roof like that, just to keep that theme going. The end caps of the roof I'm going to put on here, and I've added this little spike at the top with a fleur-de-lis style piece. That was from it was like a little pendant or something from a jeweler section of a craft store. So check out the jeweler section. You often find little beads and little findings and stuff that are quite interesting. It did have a little jump ring, a little loop on the bottom there, but I cut that off and just glued it on. So it's going to look like a little metal finishing piece for the roof there, and gives like a nice little point on the end. So that'll sit on the ends there. I've made one for the other side as well. I've made this little chimney cap. So again, it's just using those little Mardi Gras necklace beads, little glass beads, and some bamboo skewers on a piece of styrene. The ridge sort of section you see on the inside there, that's a cap from something. I think it's a super glue tube cap or some little piece there, and then the bit you see on top is just a finding from again the jeweler's section of a craft store. So just wanted to make this intricate little chimney cap, so that sits on the chimney like that. Again, rusted up and weathered a bit. I also made this little piece. There was a little frame in there, but I wasn't happy with it. Wasn't enough detail in it, so I made this little separate piece. Added these little iron bars. That's just paperclip wire. Drilled holes in the just to fit those into this styrene piece. So that's going to be in here. It's like a little basement window. There you go. Fits in there. So just a little basement window. I also added thicker posts to the side. I wanted the supports to be thicker. They were flush with the wall, but it didn't look right, so I went back, ripped all those out, and then added these thicker styrene posts in. So I think it just adds a little bit more visual depth, I guess, so it looks a bit better, I think. And finally, for now, I made these little windows. This is just a piece of clear plastic from some kind of packaging. But I'd sanded it with a really fine sandpaper to give it like a matte effect. I didn't want to be able to see inside the house because there's nothing on the inside, so I just frosted it up a wee bit, and then made these little frames, little metal frames out of cereal box cardboard. Rusted those up too, and so the idea is I'll just cut these out and then put them in all the windows in here. So I might add, or I will go back and add more detail into these. I'll add some dirt or whatever on the window panes, like collecting in the ridges or in the bottoms of these little sections here. So there's 5 windows. It's enough for the whole house. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So I've got the 5 windows sorted out there, and then just before I go, I'll shift this stuff before it all falls off. But the house is going to sit obviously where I've marked it out here on the hill. Here there'll be the little porch area that I've made, and then I might put like a shed back here, or some sort of shed building, maybe a couple trees sticking out, a little wood cutting area here, and maybe some little cobblestone paths. Again, I'm just making this up as I go along, really. But there you go. That's yeah, there will be enough space for the miniatures to go all the way around too. But there you go. That's it for now. Not sure when I'm going to get another video for this done, but I'll go away and work on this just as and when I feel like it. And I'll be back to update you with any progress I make. But until then, cheers for watching, and I will catch you all later. Goodbye.